Hey people, it's me again. So, anyways, I did like a video blog as far as one of my really long ones, you know, as far as just explaining all the other stuff there. I think in some ways, I kind of just felt like I just only wanted to explain those kind of things just once, and that was it. But sometimes it's just that I have to do recaps, especially if there's like new subscribers to any of my channels or new people added me on my live journal as far as that goes, and so in some ways that I kind of have to go back and have to explain it again, as far as for the new people, even though there's some people who are been a long time subscribers for my video blog and the stuff on my live journal, you know, but as I was kind of saying, as far as that goes, a lot of things that I seem to gravitate on there, it seems like it has a requiring of some sort of explanation of some things. As far as with the whole live journal, that I had to go around and have this sort of video to explain the whole live journal thing. And I think as far as that goes with a lot of other stuff, with the origins of like a lot of long, lifelong friendships, that I had to go around and explain a lot of things, like with Matt or Tom and Tisha and Amy and all the other ones that, I had to go around and explain my whole friendships with them, or at least how that sort of thing came to be. But in some ways, it's like that I wasn't really have a whole lot of a strong friendships with certain people. There are some people it's like they're like my friends there, that they don't really like know me a whole lot. They kind of maybe know me somewhat there, but nothing kind of said before. It's just with other things, I have to kind of at least learn how to kind of try to open people up more often as far as especially like such things. I kind of realize it's just that it's not that I'm just shy or anything, but it's just for me it just takes a while for me to open up to others, you know. But then once I do, it's like I would just feel a little bit more comfortable with telling people most of everything about myself, you know. But other times it's just like as soon as I do it, then I have to kind of give them like time to digest all that stuff in as far as that goes. So that's kind of like the whole reason why I'm not really talking to Drew and Jacob and all those other friends right now. It's just I'm giving them time to take all that in, and at their own pace and level of comfortability as far as that goes. And a lot of times I think I just don't really see how much how much they could probably take as far as they're most comfortable with. And in some ways, there's just some people that are just like that with me. Sometimes they don't realize that they have to kind of tread a little bit lighter on certain things like that. I wasn't going to be able to do these kind of things just like that. For me, it needed to be. It needed to take time and have some sort of practice for me to do certain things like that. I just was like so used to having everybody helping me do these sort of things, and I'm not really used to doing a lot of stuff on my own, because I was always so used to everybody else doing these sort of things, even if I did not want them to do that. they would just go off and help me with it anyways because I was in special ed. At other times it was merely because I'm the baby of the family. And then the babies always tends to be coddled to a point, or is either just pampered. It's either pampered or being coddled or whatnot, so it's always usually like the babies of the family is always never seems to know what's best for them and all that sort of stuff, blah, 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 simply because everybody just wouldn't really let them figure that out on their own, that sort of thing, But I wonder, as far as what is going to happen with all the other stuff that's going on, as I said, it was just one of those que sera, sera moments, Here I am talking about Taurus Day, the man who knows too much and all that, those sort of things, but it's just one of those weird things, Here, here you can see, like in the background, that there was Simon or Gar that kind of came in, eating, Although I've never really had told you guys about how I got the kitties, as far, at least not on here, but that's just probably going to be another video that I'm going to do. But I guess in some ways, as far as just my first week of being in my 30s, it seems to not be that bad, I guess. And in some ways, I just don't really notice this change just yet. But it seems like this change in me is just more of a gradual thing, a gradual process. But it's just really puzzling as far as some of these dreams that I was having, And I think it was merely, I think it was not, had anything to do about this sort of thing with Drew and all that, but maybe it was also having to do with just me changing, me now being 30, and now I'm going into these other changes there. But I don't know. Part of the problem is that I just don't really know what it is I want to do just yet, and haven't been able to figure all that out because I think it was just merely I just didn't have enough time to rest, to reevaluate everything after high school. It was just like I just had to start the whole adult transition just right out of high school when I was just emotionally exhausted. And that was really what the big problem with me was at that time. That I was just emotionally exhausted. I needed to rest. I needed to take a bit of a victory lap / breather as far as everything goes, and I just wasn't really ready to have this, or ready to take on every little thing just yet, and that I needed to dabble around in certain things before I could make a real decision on some things. I think that was just what was the biggest problem that I was having at that time. There was simply because I was been through a whole lot as far as that goes. And I just needed to rest and take maybe just whatever classes that were fun and all that as far as the first year, and then probably consider what my future prospects were, instead of just having to kind of consider all that right away. Yeah. But although I guess I would say it's just that I guess I would just say that my whole feelings on all of this was just weird on all of that. I think a lot of people at that time would have looked at it as me refusing to go to work, refusing to do all these sort of things. But what was really one person's refusal to go to work and all that was just merely me being not emotionally ready to handle all that, and I just needed time. I just needed time to figure out my feelings as far as that goes with everything and what the whole things were. I think it was just merely that they just needed to be a little bit more mindful of that instead of just probably just establishing career goals and all these sort of stuff just like that while you're still in high school, just when you're still not really sure what you want to figure things out first as far as a career wise, but merely as far as that goes, I just needed to step back a little bit and do all these little things on my own, or at least just to gain this sort of insight on my own, the way I should be, the way I should see it in some ways. I think as I kind of was doing like a video blog a while ago, or one of those other times that I was going to do a video blog where I stated somewhere that merely that people at that time just needed to work a little bit better as far as make me see things the way I wanted to make it see the way they want me to see it, sort of things. That was just what was the problem with all this sort of things there, with adult transition and all this sort of stuff, that they weren't really doing a good job of trying to make me see it the way they want me to see these sort of things. I was seeing all those sort of stuff very differently than what they were seeing it as. And it's not that I'm like saying that simply because I'm just selfish or anything. It's just that you can't really expect everybody to see things the same way you would see them, because everybody views the whole world very differently. And I'm just saying it as out of the fact, out of something factual that way. Like the whole one man's trash is another man's treasure sort of thing. And sometimes I think that people just seem to forget this sort of thing. They seem to forget that one person's this is another person's that, and that sort of thing. And so that was just the whole reason why I didn't really necessarily see these sort of things that what some people wanted me to see, As far as that goes, I guess I would say, like the whole problems with Matt, a few years ago, as I kind of said before, that maybe it wasn't necessarily my fault that I didn't really see anything good about it. But it was just merely he just wouldn't let me see how good he could be to me compared to Ricky. But all he was really showing to me that he was just clean, and that he was desperate, possessive, and just wanted me just because I looked cute to him, To him, he might have probably said that maybe I was just being a little frigid or whatnot, or or whatever the case may be. He probably thought I was this, and maybe he thought he and I made a real connection, but then the truth is, it doesn't really always appear to be that way. It's just one person's that way. It could be another person's of someone who just wouldn't take no for an answer or something like that. That kind of thing. But as I kind of said with a lot of this other stuff there, that merely this is just one of those kind of cases that we have to do with people. Is that in some ways you have to try to put more effort into trying to convey things that you want people to see instead of that, because not everybody's going to interpret all these sort of things that easily or that concrete, that lucid and all that sort of stuff. And in some ways, as I kind of said on the last video blog that I was trying to do a while ago, that as far as with the case with Matt, at least I was honest enough to say that the most that he was ever going to get with me was a backup boyfriend, that I would have considered him as some sort of potential boyfriend in the future if he didn't act in all this possessive and clingy and all that sort of case, and if things with Ricky fell through very early on, I would have basically considered him. But no, it was just merely with Matt. It was just, he just wouldn't take no for an answer, And in some ways, I feel like I'm sorry that I had to go around and do this sort of thing with him, but it was the only way he could actually learn from it. And that just because he thinks that this guy is just this way, or that he hit it off, that there's just some guys that are on there that are just only interested in just sleeping with him, and that's it. And there are some of them that are probably just only interested in just chatting up, and that's it. But merely it's always the case for some of these guys. They always seem to think that once you start talking to somebody, then they think they always go off the deep end. I don't understand the whole basis of that. It's merely, you have to think of it as merely that you're lucky if you would get a response from them, and then just to see where it will go from there. Because sometimes you may not even get anything further than that. But then if you get something further than that, which is exchanging emails or numbers or pics, I'm saying both kinds, mind you, people. Because there are some people that are just only interested in just that. And there's just some people that are just simply only interested in hooking up. And there's just some people that are just only interested in friends. And then whatnot and whatnot and whatnot, So it's just sometimes those people just have to realize that they don't have any kind of chance as far as that goes, unless they actually have to just assume that you don't. And that if they do respond, then you're lucky. Then if you do get their number, then you're lucky. Then if you do get their pics as far as that goes, then you're lucky. Then if you do get to meet them, then you're lucky. If you do get to sleep with them, then you're lucky and all that. If you do get to date them, then you're lucky and all that sort of stuff. That sort of thing, I think I was already starting to feel that way about everything the entire time, I think seems like, to me, I think I kind of already knew this sort of thing the entire time, but I just wasn't really seeing it as a way how everybody was wanting me to see these kind of things. But then it was just simply because other people have different opinions on that, like that whole "he's not into you" sort of thing, blah 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 blah. Sometimes it's not really an exact science and all that. Sometimes that you have to see these kind of things for yourself, and that was kind of the whole reason with the whole thing with Drew. I was seeing it for myself that basically he does like me. It's just that he just has a little bit of reservations on all these other things, and if I do get to see with him, great. If I don't, that's fine with me. That sort of thing, because there's plenty of other people there, and blah blah blah. That sort of stuff. But here we have all these sort of people like, I would say one live girlfriend in particular that seems to wallow in their own misery and some forth and can't seem to stand up for himself. And then all this other little stuff like that, but I'm not going to go into specifics here. Mind you, people. But the truth is, it's like sometimes there's just some people that are just that way, that they have, but maybe it takes them long for them to try to fix these kind of things, but I guess the truth is, you'll never know. You never know if you don't try. And that's always been like the case where I was just decided to hold on in a way, because I'll never know if I try. I'll never know how good it is with Drew or anybody else if I never try. So, anyways, see you guys next time.